What's up, Dale? How are you?
A lot. I'm just thrilled to be here. I'm be around the greatness of Matt Murphy and Cameron Smith. Oh,
I mean,
God.
come on. What, are you kidding me?
What the hell is wrong with you?
Dale hosts a show at WVNN in Huntsville for those that get down that way. He also hosts another show from, that show is from what? What are you doing now?
5 till 9.
5 to 9?
5 to 9. Wink.
And then from 10 to 11, he's got a statewide show that broadcasts in Huntsville, Birmingham, and Montgomery. And occasionally you might hear yours truly on that.
And I do radio down in Mobile, so we got the 65 corridor covered.
We got it covered up down south. And, Alabama's, a lot like Tennessee, except with less cool stuff.
Like what?
Like Nashville.
They got rid of the Rocket, and since they got rid of the Rocket...
Is the Rocket coming back?
It's supposed to be coming back. It should be coming back.
I mean, the new rest area is open, according to my wife.
Yeah, it is open, but the Rocket is not there. They say they're going to put one there. I think it's kind of died down, so I don't know if they're going to actually do that. I suggested a giant picture of me saying, "We're full, turn around." No one else is allowed in.
We don't want you.
Yeah.
Go back now.
Welcome to Alabama. Set your watches back 18 years. I can do that.
Yeah, you can say that, but then you drive across Tennessee and you're like, but same though.
All right, so I'm going to go around the room and get a take. We'll talk. Don't worry.
Just don't forget the raccoons.
We're not going to forget the raccoon story.
Trash pandas.
How confident are you that Donald Trump's winning?
Not very, but you've known me, Matt, for a long time. You both have. I've always been sort of like, I'm going to vote for Trump. I'm excited about doing it. I'm for it. I like what we're seeing here in the general election, but I'm very pessimistic about it. I've always said if the election is about Trump, he's going to lose. So the question is this election about Donald Trump and his personality, or is it about the issues, the status quo? Is it about that? I mean, even the Democrats are standing up and saying, we can't have 4 more years of this. And so... But if it's about Donald Trump wanting to kill Liz Cheney, whether or not that's true or not, which it's not, if they can convince people that that's what it's about, then maybe people will show up and vote against him. It frustrates me. You have people telling people to lie to your wives and your friends about what you're voting for. It's just absolutely.
You heard that commercial?
That's weird.
It's such a weird flex. It's Julia Roberts doing the commercial,
for the
and she's
girls,
like,
and then there's one for the guys, and there's a guy one where they say, hey, they walk in, 3 guys walk into a voting booth, and they look like us. Okay, and they walk in, and it's obviously
3 ugly guys walk into the voting booth.
And these are guys. These are not guys who do drag queens on the weekend pretending to be these guys, because that's exactly what they seem like. Mm-hmm. And they're like, "Hey, dude, are you ready to make America great again?" And the other guy's like, "Yeah, bro, we're gonna make America great again, pal." And then they walk into the voting booth and they make googly eyes at each other across, and then the guy bubbles in Kamala Harris and Who's
Tim Walz?
Tim Walz.
That's big impact, that Tim Walz guy.
Who's the weird one, right? They bubble it in, and then the voiceover is like George Clooney saying, "You don't have to tell anyone. You can vote for her. You could be ashamed."
Oh,
it's like,
geez.
This is the thing, and you both know this. Going back to Alabama here, remember when Roy Moore was on the ballot?
Yeah, I do.
And the Democrats illegally bought internet ads that said your vote will be public if you vote for Roy Moore, to try to kind of get people not to vote for Roy Moore. Now they flipped it all around. You can vote for Harris. You don't got to tell anyone. That's how great our candidate is. Don't tell anyone.
So it occurs to me.
You didn't get an answer from him on how confident he is.
Well, he's not. I mean,
Kinda.
I'm naturally a pessimist, and I don't like feeling this good. But if I look, Cameron and I were talking about it off air. If I look at and I don't worry about Trump versus Harris. I worry about Trump versus Trump from 2020 and 2016. And if you look at the battleground states, he's +4 to 6 in Pennsylvania, Michigan, Georgia, 2020 to 2024. So unless she gets a huge turnout, which she's not getting in early voting,
sure.
Unless she gets a huge turnout, I don't know how you do it other than cheating. And I'm concerned about this point. I'm concerned about what the Democrats are going to do if they do lose. Because some of them are not going to take Trump.
But everybody said the same thing. What we're hearing, and the algorithms affirm this to us, is it's too close to call. It's a close election, but your candidate's probably going to win. And so when they don't, it's going to be, well, they cheated, or we should riot, or, come on. Like, we changed the laws. In 2022, we changed the ones as far as the Electoral Count Act. So when they certify the election, as far as who submits the votes to Congress, a bunch of states changed their laws to make sure those processes were there. Both candidates have challenges prepared. I feel a lot better about election integrity stuff right now. It's going to be close.
Well, and they cannot engage in some of the shady activity that went on due to COVID.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But I said that the majority of what happened in 2020 was due to Democrats hitting the ground and taking advantage of those rules.
Absolutely.
That's fair.
And vote harvesting. I mean, it's simple as this. You go into Philadelphia, and I can point you to the areas and the districts where if you go to those apartment complexes and you turn 25 or 30% turnout into 60% turnout, you just got 40,000 votes.
Yeah, I was just in Pennsylvania.
And you don't have to ask them how they're voting.
Right. And it is hustle, right? If you have a good ground game in a place like Pennsylvania, they're so inundated with ads. I've never seen anything like it. But if you show up, shake hands, kiss babies, and you're like, hey, let's go, then that wins. It works.
Here's what's exciting to me, though. I don't like early voting. I think I know you two well enough that y'all probably agree that voting for 45 days is just weird. I mean, I don't like it.
I vote early. I like it because I don't have to stand in line.
For shenanigans.
I just don't. So if it were my world, we'd do it differently, but we do it this way. And so we bought in. I think all three of us bought into the idea of, hey, this is the way that it works. And you might want to bank your vote because it didn't work for you in 2020 the way that we did it in 2020. And Republicans have responded. The response time, I mean, I'm looking at, I just got sent this from the Secretary of State's office in Tennessee. There are 2.21 million early votes in the state of Tennessee. Of those, 2.13 million were in person. 76 counties have already exceeded their in-person early voting turnout from 2020. And those are finals because the early voting ended yesterday.
Right.
That's good news if that stretches nationwide.
I think at first it was, early voting, these things are bad. And then a bunch of people were like, they did it. We should do it too. We should go vote early and we should get out there because let's face it, a lot of people see a line, they turn around, they're like, I don't want to deal with that. Mm-hmm. And so having an early voting period, I think it's very secure in Tennessee. I know that I show up, they have the process. It's locked down over there in Nolensville where I vote. And I think it's a great process. And I think Republicans have now said, yeah, we're going to do it. We're going to show up.
Choice, all right? I mean, they have to play.
Right.
Like, these are the rules. So you have to play. And I think Trump was smart the way he finally came around and said, go bank your vote. I mean, just go do it.
Yeah, I mean, and not to use too many football analogies on this Football Friday, but I mean, it's the difference between how most of our coaches are playing ball with the transfer portal and with NIL and Dabo Swinney.
That's exactly where it's going to go. Clemson. Yeah.
Right.
Come on, dude.
Right. Like, no, I don't like the new rules, so we're not doing that. You're going to get your ass beat, but you've got your integrity. Good for you. Congratulations.
I have my democratic norms, Matt. I'm fine. It keeps me warm at night.
Are you, where are you from a confidence meter?
I actually, and I've told you this, that when I look at 2016 and 2020 and I look at the national poll, and I understand national poll oversamples a lot of times from New York, California, Clinton lost, and she was about the 5% range. Biden won, he was about 8%. Harris is nowhere near those numbers. And so that gives me the belief of, hey, Trump's got this right now. As far as it could go like all these different ways, like everybody hedges that. I just think that, look, she's not close. I think that actually helps him because there are a lot of people that wouldn't answer a polling question in those swing states of, I like Trump, but they'll vote for him.
It's all about Pennsylvania, right?
I think so.
I mean, isn't it? Mm-hmm. I mean, it's all about Pennsylvania.
I don't care.
I don't see you should have picked the Jewish governor from the state.
Well, no, it's exactly right.
Minnesota.
I mean, if she picks Josh Shapiro, and
it's over.
I mean,
I think it's over. If she picks him, I think it's over. I mean, even though it fires up all their anti-Semites and stuff like that, even more so than they already are.
But you win Pennsylvania, you don't have to win Michigan anymore.
Yeah, you don't.
Where all the anti-Semites
are. Yeah. I mean,
but yes, that was. But Minnesota, it was a toss-up state. Real.
I mean, that right there makes you question her judgment and intelligence. Right?
I know we're doing this in real time, but has there? I mean. Can you, off the top of your head, think of a worse vice presidential selection than Tim Walz?
Sarah Palin.
Yeah. See,
look,
she's bad. Doesn't give you anything.
It doesn't make any sense. But what they were going for is
young and female,
attractive, and they get nailed all three of those. She just so happened to be easily parodyable in which Saturday Night Live destroyed her.
Tina Fey.
I mean, they absolutely destroyed her. There was a different era. Saturday Night Live was more powerful at the time. Now, nobody knows who even is playing Joe Biden or whatever right now, so no one knows.
Dana Carvey, by the way, does a really good job. But anyway.
Well, there we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Old people. I'm old people.
And the media did what they always do, and they tried to destroy somebody, and she was not smart enough to hang with it. What do you read? What newspapers do you read? You know what I read? If you ask me, and I walk in this room, what do you read? Oh, the Tennessean. All the time. I'm just taking a shot in the dark. That's the name of the paper.
Right.
Yes. Okay. So,
correct.
So,
very good.
So I mean, that's all you got to do. Not
House conservative
everything.
closet, by the way.
It's great, man.
Yeah. They give you a window yet?
Hey, I'll tell you what. Senator Haggerty came into the editorial board meeting. We had one. Dude cooked. He was good. I was shocked. I think of him as like Boston Consulting Group. He's a suit that he came in, pitched for the people of East Tennessee, and was just good on everything. It was awesome.
So they endorse him?
No, they don't do. No, this is what's great.
Of course not.
No. He's not even in cycle. He's not even in cycle. He called the paper and said, "Hey, can I get an editorial board meeting?" Which I'm like, "Are you sure? Like you want to do that?"
So they'll endorse him next time.
No, of course not. What planet are you on?
I hate endorsements. I think endorsements are just ego trips. And I know tacos do them. I know Dale Jackson, Mr. Kingmaker over there, he loves them.
Well, the more you hated them, the more I had to pretend
I just hate them. I just hate them with every fiber of my being. They're so ivory tower and holier than thou.
But then you can say, I did this.
But, I mean, look at the liberal the liberals are just going bonkers because Jeff Bezos said, you know what, let's not endorse anybody.
No. It's you have to have objectivity until it doesn't agree with you, and then you don't have that anymore. Yeah. And that's what's happened. And that's why people hate the media. Let's be honest. It's because that's
one of the reasons.
You act like you're neutral, that you're reporting the facts, that you are being an honest broker. You're not. And then when people say, well, let's just be neutral, then you go nuts en masse. No one over there was like, I actually think this is a great decision.
Well, they missed the point too. LA Times didn't do it. Washington Post didn't do it. USA Today. But it didn't that got no play by the time that was already said and done.
The 8th grade reader. Well, no play.
Well, some of us write things that show up in the USA Today.
Really? Really?
That's true.
Oh, who would write for the USA Today?
Look,
yuck!
I am an evangelist, and I don't know. Did they preach to the choir?
Did they still flop those USA Todays in front of hotel room doors?
Yes, I hope so. I certainly do.
No, I love what Cameron does, though. It's actually he's right. He's speaking to the people who need to be spoken to.
No, you're right.
I mean, he that's who he's talking to. And it's good for them. I'll take up for you, Cameron.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'm not going to get it from over here, I'll tell you that.
Well, but this is the point, is we say, folks on the left are nuts and they're crazy. And I'm like, well, not all of them. And some of them, I'll tell you, when I talk to them, they're like, but you're not the yelly type of Republican. I'm like, did you think every Republican wanted to punch you in the face? And I mean, that's
why it well.
You got to pull these people over. You got to say, hey, what you're doing is nuts. It's really starting to get crazy. You might be a 1990s Democrat, but you don't want to do weird stuff to kids in terms of the transgender thing.
So somebody tells you that there's 23 genders, you don't want to punch them in the face? I do.
No,
I do. I can't help it. I do.
No,
I can't even have a discussion.
How could the be bisexual and there be 23 genders?
I don't understand.
It's very confusing.
The obvious answer there is like, oh, cool. Can you tell me what they are?
Of course they can.
And no, but they can't, right? They absolutely can't. Like, no one seriously can do that. And if they can, they are just got all kinds of challenges, and they're probably not reading my columns anyway.
Most liberals think of you as either one of two things, dumb or racist. And you're obviously a little too smart to be dumb.
Oh, no.
You know what I'm saying?
But it is. Look, man, in politics, from the word go, it's brand and discredit. Brand and discredit. Like, oh, you actually said something favorable about Donald Trump. You must probably be a racist, and how do you treat women?
All right, I promised we would do this segment until such time that somebody brought up the fact that Dale Jackson sounds like Tom Arnold. Ding, ding! 0272 has done so, and so it's time for a break. It's 22 after the hour. Dale Jackson, talk show host in Alabama. Cameron Smith, of course, of the Tennessean, and Matt Murphy with you for another 40 minutes or so. Stand by. It's a joke that keeps on giving. Ken hates it. Bell hates it. One of the reasons I wouldn't say Ken hates it. I wouldn't say Ken hates anything.
Okay, 2:30. All right, yeah.
This sucked and you failed.
Yeah, see what I did there?
Ken hates that Oklahoma doesn't have a quarterback.
Well, we got a quarterback. We just don't have anything else.
Now, don't get him started again. You're going to get him all worked up in there right before the newscast.
It's like exercise. It just gets the heart rate going.
We spent the first 4 hours of the show listening to Ken talk about the lack of
offense.
Yeah, offense and being able to get
It's
anything
very
done.
offensive.
I'm trying not to say the line that's in my head about Alabama and the fact that you have an open date, which is commonly referred to as off. If y'all had just let us beat you, you wouldn't have to take these whoopings from the likes of Vanderbilt and Tennessee.
That is so true. And yet, here we are with 2 losses and still somehow have life. And
12-team playoff, baby.
Everybody is kind of hating Alabama's season right now. But there's a path forward where we win out. And
no, you're right.
It's weird.
No, I mean, but you got to beat LSU.
That's true.
With the team that I'm watching.
Did you see what the backup running quarterback did? If we can convince Jalen Milroe he's not a pocket passer and just be like, how about you run, dude?
I get it.
Hey, Matt.
What is he, like 6'3", 240 pounds?
He is one of the best running backs in the country who keeps trying to throw the ball. And I need him to stop.
Yes, Bell.
Get Dale to say Florida Gators. Go Florida Gators.
Bell wants you to say "Go Florida Gators" or some version thereof. I don't know why.
Go Gators!
Thank you.
So, what's interesting, and y'all can't see from here, but Dale has brought his jean shorts into town. The cutoffs as a Florida fan.
Now, Dale is one of the classier Florida Gator fans in as much as he doesn't wear the gold chain and the wife beaters.
I do have my bright orange pants and bright blue shirt
for tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's good.
And my new white Gator shoes.
So Dale and I we went to Jacksonville, and I kept watching the Gators beat the crap out of the Bulldogs in Jacksonville at the cocktail party. So I now refuse to go down there again for fear that it will start. I don't really remember any of that. I vaguely remember.
I remember being there.
Remember, we were at Jacksonville Landing in the midst of Halloween, and everybody was dressed up in Halloween costumes. And I remember I don't know how we got it. I'm not making the story up, and I'm not proud of it. I promise you, I'm not proud of it. Somehow I had a full bottle of vodka. I don't remember how
I got. Just walking around with a full bottle.
I was walking around with a full bottle of vodka, pulling off a full bottle of vodka that had a little alligator in the bottom of it. You remember that?
I do.
Yeah, vaguely. No, it was like a glass.
Didn't a girl drink like half of it?
Yes. Yeah, she was dressed up like a robot.
Right. That's in the story, right?
Vaguely, she just grabbed it as if it was a community bottle of vodka.
All the listeners need to realize this is how you know you're alive. When you have a plastic alligator in the bottle of vodka and some woman of ill repute drinking half of it, and you're just
we don't
ill repute.
How dare you, sir?
She was a classy Gators fan.
No, ill repute.
It's
different.
But Dale and I make a point to watch the cocktail party together, which has been a delight for the last several years for me.
Let's be honest. None of us in the SEC can be like, oh, we're really classy. Ole Miss tries, but I've been to the Grove, and
do they?
You know,
didn't they? Just
what do they call their thing?
Didn't they just integrate like last year's? I mean, didn't that just happen?
Well, they like to tell us how classy they are.
Everybody says Auburn wears ties.
Some old racist guy.
No, some of them. I've been to Jordan Hare. Some of them wear ties. They let out the eagle down there. And,
yeah, the Alabama pledge. There are some people in blazers. There's also people with our respective states tattooed on their body wearing overalls with no shirt. So, you know.
I did a thing years ago, and I was for some reason, it was in 2008 because I was being invited on the sports station to do political updates for some reason. And I went on and I started talking about a study. I said, have y'all seen the new study out of Blacksburg, Virginia regarding SEC teams? And they're like, no. And I'm completely making all of this up, by the way. And I said, they did a survey and a study of fan bases from the then 12, I think it was, SEC, or maybe it was 14, SEC teams. And I was like, and Bama wins again. Congratulations to the University of Alabama. It's not even close, the percentage of your fan base that lives in trailer parks. And I just start going, it was like 28% versus 18%. And I'm starting throwing out statistics. People got really, really angry at me.
Speaking of mobile homes, I was at the airport, and the lady next to me says, she's just chatting me up, something about Louisiana, whatever. And then she's like, well, actually, I'm a modular home influencer. And I said, what?
What?
And
What
she's
is
like,
that?
well, actually, the industry doesn't love me because I tell people not to finance modular homes. But yeah, I was just speaking at a conference because I put up YouTube videos about basically mobile homes. And I'm
You
like,
could have been a mobile home influencer.
Yeah, maybe.
that is a category that I cannot imagine is quite populated. But she was there, and
Come
she's
over
like,
to my OnlyFans.
That's what I do.
Where I'll show you my single wide. You know what I'm saying? All right. Glory, glory to Georgia, and to hell with Florida. Hello, friends. It's the Matt Murphy Show. 39 minutes after the hour. That was almost exclusively for one human being, and that was Dale Jackson, who's in studio with us in anticipation of the cocktail party. But we're talking election politics, and apparently we're talking raccoons.
Yep.
With Dale and Cameron Smith. So you have discovered something about the illegality or legality of raccoon ownership in the state of Tennessee.
Yes.
Tell me what.
It is not, there's nuance here. But it's not legal to take a raccoon out of the wild and own it as a pet.
Is it, or in a related story, is it or is it not true, Dale Jackson, that you are the primary reason that the Huntsville minor league baseball team is currently called the Trash Pandas?
I wish I could take credit for that, but no, that is not the reason.
I felt like I was softballing you to take credit where you didn't deserve it.
I tried to pick a name for them that was even better, and they wanted no part of it.
Well, do you remember the name?
Yeah, it was the Madison Moonmen. They didn't want that. Instead,
Oh, the Moonmen. That's pretty good.
Yes, the Madison Moonmen. That's what I wanted. And then they were like, well, what if we were the Space Chimps? And I was like, I'm dead serious. And I said, let me paint a picture for you.
I think that's a good idea.
I said, let me paint a picture for you. Well, you remember Fred McGriff?
I do.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
crime dog.
Well, yeah, let's say the crime dog is your first baseman.
Mm-hmm.
And he's standing out on first base one day, and you look up and you're like, oh, what's that on his hat? Oh, a monkey. I'm like, that is not a good idea. Not a good look. And I told that to the owner. He's like, okay, we're going to have to do something else. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Trash Pandas is pretty good.
Yeah, let's
too.
just go with that.
I mean, yeah. Trash Pandas doesn't sound nearly as bad now that you mentioned the Space Chimps.
Yeah, you can, however, apparently, if you have a wildlife possession permit for Class 2 animals that's $31 and renewed yearly, you can own one if you get one from a licensed breeder. This all seems...
All right.
Very specific.
It's the deep state.
You are engaging in a campaign
Yep.
to legalize raccoon ownership
Yep.
in the state of Tennessee.
Yep.
Okay.
So in the bureaucracy,
Allow me to play devil's advocate
please.
because I'm not against it. I mean, I'm a freedom-loving guy.
Yep.
If you want to own a raccoon, more power to. I mean, hell, the producer of this radio show owns an emotional support cobra.
That's
for
fair.
goodness sake. Yeah, so whatever. Who am I to say? Have you considered the rabies problem? There's a rabies problem.
I have 4 boys who live in my house, so yeah, I consider it rabies a problem every day.
I mean, do you want them to have rabies? I think they'd be worse.
They'll bring skulls, critters, whatever back. So the fact they don't have rabies is kind of surprising.
I'm a little concerned that your kids are bringing skulls back to the house.
Yeah,
Well.
they're on top of the refrigerator. If that's where we put the skulls. They go up there.
It really is true that teenage boys are a lot like dogs. My dogs bring back skulls.
Yeah, same.
It's basically the same thing.
Cool rocks, things that are broken outside,
All
whatever.
right, sure. I mean, but but cats are little murderers, but that's another story. So you don't consider the rabies problem to be really an impediment to your effort.
Let me paint you a picture. You are freedom-loving Tennessean, and you say, I want a raccoon for a pet. Then you go out and you trap a raccoon, and it hates you. And it doesn't,
Right.
and it looks like it may be rabid or not, but it definitely wants to hurt you.
As they do. Yeah.
And they're jerks. And then you say, well, I'm going to use my
Well,
liver.
I'd be if you go and trap me and put me in a little crate, I'd be a jerk too, Cameron.
That's fair. But then you say, I'm a freedom loving Tennessean, so I'm just going to let you go away from my trash can. And that's it. And then if I want to keep you as a pet and you bite me and claw my eyes out, then I should have to live with the consequences of my decision. I don't need a nanny state stepping in.
I feel so bad for rats. And I'm going to tell you why. Because, rats are just like squirrels with a personality issue, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
they're
you
smart.
give them a fluffy tail
Yeah.
And I feel like pandas, had they not the opposable thumb and the ability to, get into crap, I feel like we would think of them, it's the cute little mask. Right, the little
trash pandas. You just said pandas, and I'm like,
I mean, not pandas. I didn't mean pandas. I meant raccoons.
Trash pandas.
Yes, trash pandas.
Yeah. You have the same consideration when owning a dog that they could potentially get rabies. I mean, does the rabies vaccination work on a raccoon?
The problem with raccoons, and I think I have this right, and someone on the Super Text line will correct me if I don't, that raccoons can carry the rabies virus, but they don't become symptomatic, and it doesn't kill them. So they can have the rabies virus and just act normally. It won't harm them, but if they scratch you, then you get rabies and you froth at the mouth.
So this is, it is funny, but I'm also being serious at the same time. You know this, we can put out public notices and say, raccoons may be rabid, you don't know, it's dangerous to go catch them, and then you're still like, but they're cuddly.
I just have a difficult time believing that if Elon Musk can shoot a rocket into space and have it come back down and land at the point that it launched, that we can't figure out a way to test raccoons for rabies so that you can test your pets. Just, like you do for dogs.
Sure. And
you can test for that. You just need some brain tissue.
Do you?
Yes. That's the problem is testing for rabies kills the animal.
Yeah, that's what Dale's saying, is that we got to kill them to test for rabies. But my point is, we have these laws, and it's the state trying to protect stupid people. And I don't want to do that. I think that we should say, hey, we're going to maximize liberty, and some of you guys may not make it because you try to go make a pet raccoon. I don't need a law for your stupid.
Look,
I'm with Cameron.
I'm just, once again, I announced I'm playing devil's advocate. I'm not taking a stake or a position on this issue as of yet. But I can tell you the Super Text line is firmly in your corner. This is just illustrative of the examples that I'm giving over and over again. I'm going to read you this. 0272 says, simply, raccoons have opposable thumbs. They can open a beer.
Wow. That's the ad.
So drunk and with rabies.
Come on.
Sounds like Matt Murphy this weekend.
That is the ad right there.
Hey, Matt. I just had a tweet pop up that apparently Kamala Harris's campaign has asked Mark Cuban to stop doing interviews on her behalf because of the backlash.
Really?
Yes.
All right, I know Dale has no headphones on, so he did not hear this. Is that for real?
That it looks. I don't have a secondary confirmation.
The Kamala Harris campaign has asked Mark Cuban to stop acting as a surrogate voice for her campaign over the last 4 days. That's awesome.
When's she going to do Biden? Tell him, can you not?
I think that's happened.
Can you not use the talking?
You guys understand? Joe Biden voted for Donald Trump.
Do you believe? Chris Hand, our 9 to Noon host, he's all in on that. This guy has hatred in his heart for Kamala Harris.
I think Bill Clinton did too. Listen to what Bill Clinton's saying. So here's the problem with getting rid of Biden. Imagine if he was openly trying to sabotage. Imagine, okay, so now you go out and say, hey, please stop doing this, and you say it publicly. Then he starts openly trying to sabotage you. He's just screwing up because he's an idiot right now.
Right.
Imagine if he's trying to openly sabotage you.
Does it, while we're on the subject, this Liz Cheney, obviously I played the clip. It's 1 minute and 20 seconds long. It's obvious what Donald Trump is saying is that this woman, right? This woman's a war hawk, and it's a hell of a lot harder being a war hawk if you would actually have to go into battle and take up a gun and other people are pointing guns against you, whatever. But the media is going to run with it. But does that move the needle for anybody? What they're doing right now?
No, their credibility's shot. No one kill credibility. Watch out. That's not I'm saying that. But the credibility on that stuff is, I think, is kind of shot at this point. You can't say, listen, most people will be like, okay, maybe we put that on the ballot.
Right?
Maybe we put Liz Cheney on the ballot. The real problem I have with this whole thing, Matt, is she should know her dad was called a chicken hawk over and over and over and over again. And that's all this is. It's the exact same thing. You want to send young boys to war. You want to send my friends to war. You want to do these things, but you don't want to go do it yourself. And that's all Trump is saying. And
I think it's a good, now the media is not going to give him credit for it, but it's actually a fairly good moment for Trump in that he seems to understand the serious nature of asking 20-year-old and 18-year-old men to go into battle with boots on the ground because there's real blood that gets spilled at that.
That's a real thing.
It doesn't matter. Folks, there's nothing anyone is going to look at in this the closing hours of this election cycle to say, oh man, it was a toss up between Harris and Trump this way. Like
you're too close to it though. This is not for us. This is for the people who are told every day, you got to get out there and vote. It's important that you vote. It's important you do these things. Everyone needs to get out and vote. It's part of your duty. It's your duty to get out there. You can't complain if you don't vote, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the day or the election, they're going to be like, I guess I'll go to the polls. I mean, that's who it's for.
I get it, but I'm simply saying
the type of people that we fear.
Honestly, I'm just in Pennsylvania. I'm talking to my Uber driver, and she actually said it's everywhere. We have these rallies. No one knows how you even get invited to a rally. It's just happening. So we'll just go vote, but it's just kind of overwhelming. There's so much noise that it's basically like, vote your conscience, like vote which way you want to go.
I think actually, I mean, and they tried like 14 different things to make her likable, to make her understandable. They missed an opportunity, and it's too late now. If they could have defined Kamala Harris as if you want to stop hearing about politics in your life. I mean, seriously.
Amen.
If you want all of this to go away, vote Kamala Harris. And all of this will go away, and you don't have to hear about it every day. Otherwise, you're going to have to deal with this for another 4 years. What do you want?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I just think that she is an eminently unlikable candidate that is running against a guy who his retail politics in the closing part of this campaign has been great. Like the garbage truck stuff, the McDonald's stuff. But it's pandering. You know what you do in the closing hours of a campaign? Pander. You pander like it's your job. He's like, what do you like? Beards? We're going to give you 100% tax deduction for having a beard.
Less beards.
Like he's just whatever. Vote for me. What do you got to lose? She's a weirdo. And that's really compelling.
By the way, the economy only added 12,000 jobs.
But they're not talking about that. I mean, that's again, that's for us. They're not talking about that. They're talking about that Donald Trump wants to kill Liz Cheney. I mean, that's what they're talking about, and they're lying.